Hey guys, and welcome back to another Flyff Project M developer update, or called Devblog in short. And today we're going to look at the changes that have been made to the game and have been developed in April. And I'm just going to read it out to you, explain here and there some things if it's not like 100% clear just from reading it. And yeah, that's going to be the video pretty much. So first up we have the changes to the monster drop system. Monster drops in Flyff PC have always been subject to various issues. Some monsters gave too many items, some others gave no items at all. Drops are now generated with a script to avoid bugs, allowing us to define clear rules. Note that the API will provide a complete list of items for each monster with an order of probability, not the exact percentage. So that basically means where they just reworked some drops, and we're going to hear a lot more about drops and what they changed. It's very interesting and a little bit complicated here and there, but not really that much, not really that complicated. And what they mean with the complete list of items for each monster, it basically means that you can actually see what every monster can drop. It's like not hidden or anything. You can look into it, and they also give you the items in a order in which they define their rarity. So for example, the most rare item will be at the top and the most common item from the monster will be at the bottom. So it's basically giving you a feel, as they say, not the exact percentage of every item, but they're giving you at least a overview, you could say, an overview about which is the rarest item and which is the most common item, which I think is pretty nice. But also having the exact percentages would also be pretty nice, to be honest. First up, we have the general monsters. Slightly increase the drop rate of booty in questies. Captains will drop more questies than normal monsters, which will drop more questies than small monsters, which is a pretty nice change, I think. General monsters can drop only power dice 4, 6 and 8, but the other ones we can get elsewhere. General monsters can now drop Fruit Punch and Gratin, I'm actually not sure how to pronounce that. Before they only dropped up to Meat Salad. General monsters would now not drop unique weapons anymore, same as version 9 onwards. So that basically means unique weapons can not dropped by pure luck from normal monsters anymore, which is what makes it a lot harder to actually get them. So dungeon monsters. All monsters in dungeons have a higher chance to drop power dice than general monsters. They can also drop power dice 10 and 12. So here's the explanation why we only drop power dice 4, 6 and 8 from normal monsters anymore, because they moved power dice 10 and 12 to the dungeon monsters. But not only dungeon monsters, but later more for that. And yeah, that just gives like dungeons a different mean, because it's not like, I mean, of course it is, but it's not like really an option to go to dungeons. It actually means if you want to like get all the necessary materials to upgrade your equipment yourself, then you actually have to go to the dungeons and actually level, farm, or just kill monsters there, which is nice because nowadays you don't really have to go to any dungeon, and people don't really do it unless they have to, mostly. So that's pretty nice, I think. So next up we have the flying monsters. Only flying monsters can drop plug earrings. They also have a higher chance to drop the mole earrings than general monsters. Yeah, I don't think I have to add anything there. Then next up we have this huge wall of text, and we're jumping right into it. Giants. Giants are guaranteed to drop at least one common or uncommon weapon or piece of armor. Note about guaranteed drops. They are still subject to drop probability reduction if your level is higher than the monster. 10% if your 9 levels are more than the monster. Treasure Hunter and other buffs will not make them drop twice or more. So it sounds a little bit complicated, I guess. I mean, at least for me, when I first read it, it sounded a little bit complicated. But how I understand it is pretty much like that. You have a guaranteed drop, as it says. At least if you're in the level range, then it's 100% guaranteed to drop one common, uncommon weapon or armor. And this guaranteed drop cannot be changed or like dropped multiple times through any kind of buffs or party skills. So if you get only the guaranteed drop, then it doesn't matter what kind of buff or party skill or whatever you have activated, you only get that guaranteed drop and you can't change it. But that doesn't mean you can't get more than the guaranteed drop, of course. It just means if you are getting only the guaranteed drop, then it's just that one item. Yeah, that's how I understand it. Giants have a chance to drop power dice 10 and 12. Again, the same with the dungeon monsters. Giants have a higher chance to drop an element card matching the element, which is kinda nice. Giants have a higher chance than general monsters to drop rare weapons, pieces of rare armor, and jewelry, which is also pretty nice, because it just gives you that unique boss hunting feel when you're actually killing bosses, because they actually drop a lot better stuff than normal monsters do. Giants will drop several requesties and consumables. Only giants and bosses can drop unique weapons. So that's the reason why we don't drop unique weapons anymore from normal monsters, because they are only the drop from giant monsters. And now the newest change, each giant has a slight variance in chance, few percentages to drop a specific kind of unique weapon. Sword, axe, stick, knuckle, etc. For example, one giant will have a slight better chance of dropping a sword, while another might have a slight better chance of dropping a staff. So that is pretty nice, because as we read earlier from the API, you actually know, because there will be a list, and in this list there will be the items will be sorted by probability. So that means every boss has like one of the weapon items, of the unique weapons, standing at the highest, so on top probably, and that means it's at the bottom, I mean. So that means it's more likely to drop than the other items, and that means you can actually see which boss will drop which item most frequently, and that means this boss is like the bow boss, for example. So he drops guardian bow, for example, more than the other guardian weapons, which is pretty nice. So next up we have clockworks and also other bosses. Clockworks will now always drop one piece of jewelry between my tier, Pensero, Strente, Intiret, and Dexion +1. There's a chance to drop a second one of these +1 jewelries. So yeah, actually it's pretty much the same as with the giants. It's a guaranteed drop pretty much, and doesn't mean you can only drop one. It just means you always drop one and have the possibility to drop more. Clockworks has a small chance to drop one of its rare jewelries, which are the same as above, just with higher upgrades, +2 and 3, and also speedos +1, 2, and 3, which means those are the really rare drops, because they say it is a small percentage. And yeah, that's pretty nice. And Clockworks has a high chance to drop Clockwork's weapons and pieces of Clockwork's armor, so that they won't be that rare. And yeah, I think pretty cool that it has a guaranteed jewelry drop. Other bosses, Dreadpad Dungeons, Iblis, Linus, and Medionica. These bosses drop many questies, consumables, and common, uncommon weapons and pieces of armor. They have a high chance to drop upgrading materials, including power dice 10 and 12. They are the monsters with the highest chance to drop several rare weapons and pieces of rare armor. The word several is here very important, I guess. And Iblis Linus can drop weapons of Iblis, which is, I guess, obvious. And Medionica can drop legendary golden weapons, which is not really obvious, but I guess a nice change to things. And last but not least, we have quest monsters. Quest and Cabarrus monsters will now only drop items relative to their quests, which is also pretty nice. And then we have two new Clockworks weapons. Added equivalent weapons for acrobats. Only mercenary, magician, and assist had Clockworks weapons before. And those two weapons are the Roripul bow with hit rate +20, attack speed +10, and the Rory Yet Yo-Yo with hit rate +10 and attack speed +10 as well. I personally don't really like the look of them. because they're just bloody weapons redesigned, I guess. I mean, it's the same with the devil weapons from the Playpark servers, which you guys probably heard about it. They just changed the skull to like the dragon head from the, or Oni head maybe, from the Yakudine knuckle and stick theme. And I mean, it's just a personal thing, but I personally don't really like the design of them. I also don't think they really match their other class equivalents, so yeah, but that's just me, I guess. So next up we have the hunting board feature. Don't worry, I will zoom a little bit more in right after I read the text. Hunting board is the first part of an important achievement system in development. Each species of monsters has a counter of monsters killed by the player. Once a player completes an achievement level, it will receive a permanent attack bonus against all monsters belonging to the specific species, e.g. Mushping. Completing all levels of an achievement can unlock a specific title. So this is how the hunting board or the achievements tab looks right now in-game. I think it's pretty nice because it says on which level you currently are. It says what you have to do to gain the next level. It also says what you get after completing the next level. And yeah, I personally think it's awesome. I really enjoy it. I have nothing negative about it. It's pretty much what all people ever wanted from the title system, like any kind of benefit, as well as the prestige of just having the title at all. And yeah, I think it's totally awesome because you actually know what you have to do in order to get a title. Because right now in Flyff PC it's like, I mean, you know that the titles are there and you know kinda what you have to do. Like for example the Albert Executioner, I mean, obviously you have to kill Alberts of some kind. But yeah, that's the problem. You don't really know what kind of Alberts. For example, in Flyff PC only normal Alberts count. Here it says small Albert, Albert, Captain Albert and Giant Albert. So it doesn't matter which one you kill. It all counts, and yeah, it's just beautiful. It's exactly what we all wanted all those years. And then obviously in the same category we have the player titles introduced in version 13 of Flyff PC. You can now unlock the titles. You can now unlock titles and select one to show next to your player name. We kept the version 7 system by allowing you to select PvP title, which is based on your PvP fame points and job. It is the default setting when you create a new character. So that's how it currently is pretty much, or kind of. You have like all the titles that you have completed. You can choose one, select one, and then it will be shown next to your username, which is, yeah, as I already said, that's pretty much how it is right now. The only difference is you see where you got it from, what you did to get it, and a short description. And yeah, pretty nice addition to the game. So next up we have the decaying mine rework. Due to several issues with the decaying mine reporting during the CBT and that the quest chain has never been finished in Flyff PC, we decided to rework most parts of this dungeon. The layout map is the same, but we removed walls and put a real terrain ceiling that will make it look more like a real mine. We hope that players will appreciate a few details like shining crystals and drops of water falling from the ceiling in some places, which they probably took a little bit of inspiration from the Crystal Labyrinth, maybe, but it looks different, of course. The whole quest chain and mechanisms of the dungeon have been fixed and completed, so the last room with the bloody trillipies can now be accessed by players. Spawn timers and monster drops have been adjusted too. So that's basically how it looks now. You can see like the mine entrances and stuff like that just look different. They removed most of the ceiling and materials which have been in there, so it's more like a real mine, as they mentioned, and added those crystals and stuff like that, which have a different feeling. Most rooms, it seems like, look different, so like purplish, greenish, bluish, which is also pretty nice, I guess, and overworked like the complete dungeon, which is pretty cool, to be honest. So then we have After completing the quest chain, you will be able to talk to the old man Decaying and access the hidden room. Initially planned for the Decaying mine Flyff PC, developers finally decided to reserve the Meteonica for the Volcane dungeon in version 11. The hidden room of the mine has a guild quest working like the Clockworks. Players will have 1 hour to defeat this level 100 boss, whose power is between the Clockworks boss and Red Meteonica boss. So between 10 and 20,000 damage-ish, I guess. Maybe 20, 22, something like that. So a actually pretty strong boss, probably. What I would be interested actually, that just came to my mind, would be the one-hit mechanic, if he has the same as the Red Meteonica. That would be very interesting, which was probably already previously asked in the Discord, but I actually don't know the answer to it. Maybe you guys can answer it in the comments. And yeah, so they basically turned it into a Clockworks 2.0 kind of thing, which is pretty cool because it's completely new, and like the guild fight feature here, and yeah, I think it will be great. So next up we have the damage stats window. There's now a damage stats window. This window will show you the total damage done and average damage dealt per second. You can use this to know exactly how much damage you are dealing over a period of time, rather than just relying on the pop-up damage numbers. You can also see the stats of any other player who are fighting the same target as you, e.g. party fighting a giant or a guild fighting Clockworks. You can reset the stats displayed using the reset button on the top right of the window, which is this refresh button, I guess, or in this case reset button. And I think they took a lot of inspiration from like games like World of Warcraft and stuff like that, because those games have this exact same feature pretty much. But yeah, I mean, it's not negatively meant, it's just like, yeah, those games already had it all those years ago. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool because you can actually now, because most people just look at the plain damage, but I mean obviously if someone does plain more damage than you, he probably also does more damage per second and stuff like that. But it's actually not a quite accurate match between players, so you can't like just say because one hits more damage, it does more damage per second as well, because there's things like hit rate, parry, overall crit rate and stuff like that. So it doesn't mean just because your highest damage is higher than the other player's damage, it doesn't mean you normally do more damage per second as well, or more damage overall. And now with this feature you can actually show other people what you mean, if you're certain that you're dealing more damage than them and stuff like that, so you can just see between players who does the most damage and who does not. Damage training dummies. To complement the damage set system, training dummies are now available next to the Saint City Arena. They are dummies for each natural element and one without a specific element. They take advantage of a new system scaling the enemy to the player's level, thus they don't have a specific level and will always act like an average monster having the same level as the player. I'm really interested in this new system, if they want to try and use it for maybe dungeons and stuff like that in the future, which I'm very interested in, because I think that would be a great feature actually to add to the game. But I mean like overall on everything, but I guess that's maybe just me. But back to the topic, we have training dummies now next to the Saint City Arena, as they mentioned. 6 of them, one without an element and one for every natural element. And yeah, there you can, like in most other MMORPGs, you can now test skills, damage and stuff like that. And the enemy or the training dummy will always have the same level as your character. Next up we have the quest changes. It's another wall of text, but don't worry, we will get through it safely. The quest window now uses the same style as the other window redesigns. Quest details, condition and rewards are now all part of the same window. So yeah, they just reworked the optics and stuff like that. And yeah, that's pretty much mostly it, I guess. Maximum level conditions have been removed for all quests with the exception of Dreadpad dungeons, Iblis dungeons, Kebara's prison and job change. Which is pretty nice, because that means you can, at least if you hit the minimum level required for a quest, you can always complete it no matter what, except for these few exceptions. And when talking to an NPC, if you refuse their quest, it will remove the emoticon from the top of the head and icon and map and navigator. This doesn't mean you can't do the quest anymore. You can still start the quest by talking to the NPC. So if you're the kind of guy or girl who doesn't really like quests and who also is very annoyed by the signs on the map and navigator and stuff like that, and on top of the NPCs, then you can actually disable it, kinda, when you're talking to the NPC and refuse the quest, and then it won't show anymore, which is, I don't think, necessary, to be honest, but yeah, I guess some people will probably like it if they are really annoyed from the quests shown on their game. Quest XP reward system changed. The experience is now specified as a percentage given when a quest is completed on its minimal level to finish it. This amount is then reduced by 10% for each level above the minimum level required to complete a quest. The window will now show the XP percentage that you will get if you complete a quest at your level, which I personally don't really understand, because here it still says just experience gained. I don't think, I'm not sure if this means it's a screenshot from before they made that change with the percentages, but in this picture it just says experience gained, so you still don't know how much experience you gain. But I think it's just an old screenshot probably. Plug Earring quest has been re-implemented. Quest was removed before version 7. If you don't kill flying monsters, completing this quest is your unique chance to get a Plug Earring +2, which gives you 60 death. Decaying Mine quest chain has been completed, reworked and finished. Fixed a bug that occurred during Dr. Astley Phantom of Fear quest, and some quest remotes and minimum level requirements have been adjusted. Next up we have the flying improvements. The flying system received huge improvements. It is now possible to duel, PK, fight in the arena and cheer between flying players. Many thanks to the 3D animator I'd Say Bucket So Fart for his amazing work. Very interesting username right there. Acrobats can now attack with bows and yo-yos while flying. So now we will watch just a few clips of examples of the different classes using different skills and stuff, and I will just show it to you from the Discord, because otherwise I would have to like download it all, put it on my computer, set it up, and I don't think really that is necessary, so I would just show you the ugly Discord screen and play those clips for you, which are very short actually. 3 seconds. It's just presenting the fighting animation of the different classes. First up we had the bow, now it's a yo-yo, which has a very bad hit rate, I guess, because he didn't hit more than one hit, I think. So this is a blade, which said blades have their own attack with dual weapons and get the extra damage calculation on a second hit. I personally think it looks a little bit strange at first, but the more I watch it, the better it looks. Like the blade fighting animation when flying, it's actually kind of cute. I actually like it. Looks pretty funny. Assists have their own unique attack pattern with knuckles too. All those characters have a very bad hit rate. And the monsters are pretty high parry rate, I guess, as well. Next up, most skills can now be used while flying. If a skill cannot be used while flying, the information will be shown in the tooltip. So there will be just now a added note which says flying, yes or no. Then we have a few examples of using skills while flying and the animations with those skills. This one is in particular pretty awesome. You can now use dark illusion when you're flying, which is, I mean, it won't really change that much, but I just think it's really cool. That's a junk arrow skill. Also pretty nice. It's actually pretty nice. The junk arrow skill is very important for acrobats, so it's really nice that you can use it while you're flying. That's a very low cast time. Or a very bad cast time, rather. It's a pretty sick animation. Alright, and next up we have, or last but not least, we have the Burst Crack AoE assist ability. Nice. So next up we have the MP and FP refresher rework. The restored values of food, refreshers and potions have been increased. MP refreshers and FP potions now have a small cooldown. Like other consumables, FP potions now have their own visual effect when using them, and each FP potion has a unique visual. So the FP potion and just eating any kind of food had the same animation. That was changed. I will show you in a second how it looks now. Also, the FP potion bottles have been changed. Before it has only been 3, I guess. This one, and this one. And now it's 8. Like the same amount as the MP refresher bottles, which go from thin to thick to thin again and then again thick. And it's the same with the FP potions. They just change the looks of them with every higher grade, I guess. Also, they have a cooldown, which makes them, what makes it actually a lot more difficult to restore MP and FP. I mean, I don't know what the cooldown exactly is for each and every grade of refresher, but it certainly adds a new, kind of feel to it, because you can't just spam MP and FP refreshers anymore. You actually have to wait until you use them again, same as it goes for food. And the new animation looks like that. When using an FP potion, it's a little bit similar to getting new skills in your skills window. I think it looks a little bit similar to that, but yeah, just from the color, I mean, obviously. Next few options I have to show you in the Discord as well, because it's just like one line of text. Quick sell, you can now sell items quicker using the quick sell feature. You can filter which items you want to sell on bulk. You can click any items in the quick sell window that you may want to exclude. So there's the example. You have different filters. So first up you click on the quick sell button, then you have different filters, and if you don't want to sell something from that filter, you can exclude it by clicking them. And wait, did it lag right now? What was that? It's just like, yeah, that's better. Alright, exactly. And the other option is buy back. You can buy back items that you have previously sold to NPC shops. This feature will store the 50 latest items that you sold, and each item will stay for 12 hours, even if you log out. The price to purchase back the item is always the price that you sold the item for, increased by 5%. Items which are red because they expired and items that you can directly purchase again in an NPC shop will never be stored in buyback, though a common armor that you previously upgraded or pierced will be in buyback. So that pretty much means trash items normally you can't buy back. Everything which you already upgraded and stuff like that you can always buy back. You can only buy back 50 items, and only if it's in between the last 12 hours. So those are pretty much the rules for it. And now we can see an example of it. Buy back button and the price for it. Last but not least, we have other changes and bug fixes. First up, the other changes. Catcher spawns now have various spawn locations across each continent rather than set spawn spots. So they are spread out more, I guess. Added Guru Catcher and Krezik Catcher spawns to Darken 3, which I guess didn't have any spawns until now. Level 60 plus pieces of rare armor are now red like unique weapons. Old faces from the Japanese version are now available at Character Creation and Plastic Surgery NPC, which is kinda interesting. All faces now have their cartoon version, also fixed faces which were missing their blinking textures in cartoon style. Stats now have their own unique melee attack animation. Action slot now only has one initial cast animation regardless of how many skills are in the action slot. Players with any amount of karma can now fly again, which is kinda interesting. You can now collect materials from collectors by clicking the monster instead of using a motion, which I really like because in between 1 month I actually forgot how to collect materials because I forgot about the motion button and I was just like stupidly clicking around and it was really annoying. I mean, it was my fault obviously because I forgot about the motion, but I think it's just easier foremost for new people which don't know the system to actually, without any help, understand how to like collect those materials, which is, I think, pretty nice. Skills now reset when completing the first job change at level 15, which means you get a restat and a reskill, not the scrolls, but you actually get all your skill points and all your stat points back at level 15, so you can start completely new at level 15 again. So whatever you do as a vagrant doesn't matter because you get a complete reset of everything. Buff ping will stand in set locations and won't disappear. Will still give only level 4 low level buffs which are limited to players under level 30. So we have the buff ping starting feature, starting player helper feature, but only until 30 and only with buff level 4, but still better than nothing. Stats now reset at level 60, not the reset item, which is actually new. That I'm not sure if it has never been like that, but it's not like that. So at level 60 you normally don't get a reset. Cheer points in Flyff PC, I mean. Cheer points are not reset anymore when logging out. However, you still need to be online for 1 hour without disconnecting to get a new cheer point, which is also pretty nice. That means you can collect free cheer points on any character or on multiple characters and then lock them in 1 by 1 and giving your main character like a permanent cheer buff, or just save them when you're going on a level 3 or something like that. Buff timers are now displayed in minutes and seconds instead of only seconds, which is a little bit much, I think, but I guess it's pretty nice. Added required collector material quantity to the save upgrade windows, which is pretty nice because before it didn't say you need any material at all, which was very confusing, and I could already imagine how many people would have been completely trolled by that and wouldn't understand what is going on, because it wouldn't have shown them that they need material, and so normally you wouldn't collect it, you wouldn't have it, and then you would be like, hey, why can't I upgrade my equipment? I have like power dice, item, S product, enough penya, stuff like that, but I can't upgrade. So it's really nice that they added it back in, so it's easier to understand for people which don't know about the material feature at all. And lastly, we have the bug fixes. Fix the client crash when doing the guild siege lineup. Fixed bugs where cancelling an attack or attacking another monster took up to several seconds to be visible on the client side. Fixed a bug where pressing a key and clicking out of the game window made the key stuck. You had to press the key again to fix the issue. Fixed the visual bug with yo-yos when attack speed or distance with the monster was higher than a certain amount. I actually didn't appear to have experienced this bug because I don't remember it, and I played a few hours with my yo-yo character. But nice that I fixed it, whatever it was. Fixed the visual bug that occurred while using the outline mode with certain shields and fashion pieces. Fixed all fashion pieces going to the equipment slots instead of fashion slots. Fixed text selection by double clicking. Disabled transparency when stylizing text with font editor premium buff. Scrollbar will now only show when necessary in NPC shops. Fixed game masters and administrators still affected by AoE skills when they are in invincible mode, which is pretty funny that it actually was able to hit them with AoE skills. All items in NPC shops are now generated by a script fixing various issues, including pieces of armor missing. Shops should now be similar to the Flyff PC version. Removed some NPC shops tabs with no items to sell inside. Fixed the bug where Knuckles had a swinging sound effect, and fixed incorrect weapon upgrade element glow position on Knuckles. Whew, sorry for reading it out like that, but I mean, it's just bug changes. Most people probably didn't happen to experience most of these bugs. I think I didn't experience any of these, so yeah, I don't think those are necessary to point out one by one by a higher amount than any other one. So my personal opinion on this update is it's pretty nice. It doesn't add like those many features like the recent updates, I think, which is mostly probably because of the complete rework of the decaying mine, which you just see as this one small change, but I think it actually probably took a lot of time because they completely redesigned it. They finished the quest. They were thinking about a new guild fight system with the Medionica and stuff like that. So you're reading it in like 30 seconds and don't really think about it, but I think it actually made a lot of work. And also the achievement system probably, the thinking process, and also it's not finished even. It's still in development, so I also think that took a lot of time probably. And the achievement system also is my highlight of this Devblog, because I personally collected on my main character over 50 of the fame titles, so I actually really enjoyed hunting them and having this prestige about them. But I'm also, as most people, pretty demoralized by not knowing how much I already done. I had to write it down on my own, so if I killed like 1 hour of La Wolf, I had to write down like I kill 20 per minute and then like whatever per hour and stuff like that. So you had to write it down by yourself because there was no progress bar, there was nothing in percentage or something like that, which is really annoying. And also, even if you get one of these titles, you don't get anything from it. You just get the prestige to wear the title next to your name, which is actually pretty bad because every generic MMORPG with a fame title or title system at all, whatever title it may be, yeah, gives you a certain amount of HP, attack, defense, whatever, if you wear that title. So it's actually pretty embarrassing that Flyff doesn't have that, because most of the titles actually require a lot of work, a lot of money, or just a lot of dedication, or everything combined. So I'm really glad that they changed that, and I'm sure it will please a lot of players in their journey on Project M. And yeah, that's pretty much everything I have to say about the update. I think I mentioned my personal opinion at least here and there. So yeah, let me know what you think of the update, and don't ask me please when the game will come out. I don't know, and I don't think anyone knows yet. And if someone knows, they probably didn't tell it anyone because there's nothing known publicly. And until they make an announcement, don't take anyone's word, just wait for it. Look into the Devblog updates, just wait for the next server testing and stuff like that. Join the Discord, links in the description, and yeah, just wait for it. We can't change how much they develop each month. We can't change how fast the development goes, so we just have to be patient and yeah, wait for it. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I would really appreciate a like, comment, and if you subscribe to my channel. On top of all my German videos, I also have a English Flyff series running on my channel. So check it out if you're interested in English Flyff videos. And yeah, see you next time. Bye bye.